heated and fiery electoral season in the United States. A campaign ad for the front-running candidate blares across the radio.
Mary Sapien wants you to believe he can make your lives easier, but Anthony Cristo knows better. Cristo knows that the only way to achieve peace is through war, and only through tremendous hardship can we truly enjoy our lives. Vote for Anthony Cristo this November, and you'll hear the trumpets of victory.
Here we see our first glimpse of our two candidates in action. There's Manny Sapien, an everyday normal guy who just wants to make things better for everyone. And then there's Anthony Cristo, who, well, you'll see for yourself.
Hello and welcome to our first presidential debate of this year's campaign season. The candidates have been narrowed down in the primaries to Senator Manny Sapien and businessman Mr. Anthony Cristo. Our first question concerns the differences which underpin the contrasts between these two candidates. What is your most primary campaign promise to the American people as we head toward November? Senator Sapien, we'll begin with you.
If elected, I promise that I will address the rising inequalities and economic hardships which our struggling people face. I will work my hardest to increase the quality of life for average Americans and make this nation a better place for all. Thank you all for this opportunity. God bless America, and I'll see you all at the polls in November.
Mr. Cristo, same question.
I will wage a great holy war across the land. Billions will suffer in pursuit of our great cause, and millions will die as martyrs in a great battle of decisive fates. Thank you, and all hail the dark forces of hatred.
Look, I'm going to encourage Americans not to vote for my opponent. No, look. I think you shouldn't vote for him because he's literally the Antichrist.
Oh, here you go again with your conspiracy theories.
It's not a conspiracy theory. You actually talk like a demon. Listen to yourself.
Oh, man, who's judging my accent?
This is insane. I can't believe the direction this country is heading, but this actual demonic entity is somehow running for president.
Senator Sapien, we're going to have to ask you to cease with your baseless attacks on Mr. Cristo. The debate stage is not a place to spread conspiracy theories or hurl insults about your opponent.
Unbelievable.
Despite his despicable campaign promises and his distinctive odor of sulfur, businessman Anthony Cristo continues on through the debates with a substantial backing from his many fervent followers, which grows to include new groups every day.
Anthony Cristo is heading towards the general election with a solid lead in the polls after securing endorsements from evangelical leaders and churches across the nation. Pastor Josh Olson of Houston says, quote, "We as Christians have a theological duty to follow Anthony Cristo to the ends of the earth."
November comes, and the first Tuesday brings flocks of voters to the polls. Long lines snake around city blocks as tens of millions of Americans show up to cast their votes.
It is election night in America, and polls are closing in the central states now, just after 9 p.m. here in the East. The electoral count stands for the moment at 43 for Senator Manny Sapien and 97 for Mr. Anthony Cristo, after a slew of states were called in Mr. Cristo's favor.
We have yet another call to make tonight, and it is a decisive one. Arizona is projected in favor of Anthony Cristo tonight, with its 11 electoral votes pushing Mr. Cristo just over the threshold to secure the election. This is breaking news. The presidential election is projected to bring a victory for Mr. Anthony Cristo. We are currently awaiting a victory statement from now President-elect Cristo.
Good evening, America, and thank you for your vote. You have been heard tonight. My inauguration day will be a day of great retribution and vengeance against those who have wronged us, and they will feel the fires of hell upon them. Our holy war will bring great suffering to many, and it will open the eyes of all who witness our tremendous wrath. righteousness. The victors shall inherit the earth, and our conquest will make all those who doubt bow and take to their knees. We will be worshipped as gods among men, each and every one of us. There will be nothing left but us, ourselves to rule the world. Do you want to be gods? Do you want to feel the righteous power of holy retribution? Thank you for electing me your president. Long shall I reign, and may we together ride on to the final battle as one.
Christo's followers would gladly follow him to hell and back into the ends of the earth if he led them there. And that is precisely what he would do.
Today marks the day which, according to incoming President Christo, will mark the, quote, breaking of the seals which hold our nation back. President-elect Christo has long talked of the glory of this day. We'll go now to Christo's campaign spokesman, Azazel Hellman. Mr. Hellman, what can we expect at today's inauguration?
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. Firstly, President Christo will not be swearing in on the Bible, as is tradition at these inaugurations. This is because the Antichrist, Anthony Christo, has an allergy to the leather found in the cover of most Bibles, which he says causes boils and blisters on his hands, and so he has opted instead for an original, first edition copy of Dante's Inferno.
Interesting. So, when Mr. Christo becomes President Christo, what is the first thing we can expect to happen?
That's a great question. First, the sky will open up and unleash a great thunderous roar, which can be heard for miles.
I was rather asking, what can we expect policy-wise from President Christo on his first day in office?
Oh, of course. I won't speak for the new president, but I will say the agenda for the first 100 days is an ambitious one which will see America and the world undergo some serious changes. We're going to like what comes next.
I'm sure we will.
I didn't say you will.
Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
I don't need that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Most American presidencies are judged in the early stage by their performance in the first 100 days. As history would look upon the Christo administration, it would really only take them 13 days to leave their mark.
We have exciting new developments from President Christo's transition into office. We're expecting 4 cabinet members to be appointed this week, the first of which was just announced by the White House. For the Department of Health and Human Services, President Christo has announced that Yersinia Massasis shall be appointed the Secretary of the Department. President Christo says that America must be prepared for another pandemic, which Yersinia has a great deal of experience with, according to the administration.
The SARS-3 outbreak, which is ongoing in parts of America, has the potential to become epidemic in scale. We must be prepared for the possibility of nationwide or even global spread of this deadly disease. Do not panic and have no fear. Some are sure to die, but this must be accepted, for their time has come, and in time death shall come for all of us.
SARS-3 has officially become a viral epidemic, according to officials with the CDC and the Department of Health and Human Services. Health Secretary Yersinia Metastasis says that all Americans who are infected with the emerging virus should avoid going to the hospital, saying that hospitals will only expose you to further infections. Instead, Secretary Metastasis says that infected persons should seek help from friends and family and consider staying with someone else while ill. Otherwise, official health guidelines from the government say that you should continue about your normal routine and be sure to hug your loved ones.
The Senate today has confirmed President Christo's appointment to the Department of Defense, General Aldrich Warfield. After his official confirmation to the post, Secretary Warfield immediately reported to the Pentagon, where the Department of Defense says the new secretary will make an announcement shortly.
Tensions in the Middle East have arisen to a point which America can no longer stand by and idly ignore. That is why today, I am announcing that the Defense Department seeks to increase the military ranks by an order of 200,000. To accomplish this, military conscription will be enacted, and a draft of young men between the ages of 19 and 21 will take place beginning tomorrow at noon Eastern Time.
The United States government has ordered massive and widespread missile strikes across the Middle East, which remain ongoing at this hour. Targets being stricken in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Yemen, and even in the heart of Iran tonight. Israel, for its part, has announced that its Iron Dome defense system has been active all night long as enemies in the region retaliate against a key US ally. Thousands of jihadist rockets from Iran-backed militants have rained down upon Israel over preceding hours, with Iran itself showing signs of military mobilization that may well suggest imminent Iranian intervention.
America has responded with positive enthusiasm to Secretary of Defense Warfield's recent action in the Middle East, with hundreds of thousands of young men of military age lining up at recruitment centers across the nation in order to fulfill the Secretary's call to arms. When asked by our field reporters, many of these young men said that they're ready to fight in President Christo's promised holy war. When asked of the risks, most of these young men said that they would be eager to die for the glory of President Christo, who many of them regard as America's new God Emperor. Christo's approval rating has soared to a staggering 88% as Americans respond with great vigor to their new leader's charisma and action.
Newly confirmed Secretary of Agriculture Raven Stavros today announced measures designed to combat the obesity epidemic in America. Farmers in the Midwest have been instructed to set fire to their crops, while grocery stores have been encouraged to destroy surplus foods. Fires are burning from Kansas to Ohio this evening after the new measures went into effect, with millions of acres of crops being destroyed at the order of the Department of Agriculture.
We're covering the Senate confirmation hearing of Mortimer Necros, the appointee for the Department of Energy. Let's listen in.
Mr. Necros, if confirmed to the position, how would you best help the issue of America's energy dependence, particularly when it comes to reliance on foreign countries and fossil fuels?
I will order the construction of more than 100 nuclear reactors at 66 designated sites across the nation. Existing nuclear power plants will be operated at maximum capacity.
Is it safe to operate nuclear power plants in such a manner? And weren't you on the board of directors at 3 Mile Island during the meltdown there?
That was one of my career highlights. I am not concerned with the safety risks. Millions are likely to feel negative effects.
I like what I've heard so far. We'll now take the matter to a vote. All in favor of confirming Mortimer Necros to the Department of Energy, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
The Senate has unanimously voted in favor of confirming Mortimer Necros as the Secretary of the Department of Energy. Secretary Necros has just alluded to an ambitious new plan to substantially increase America's nuclear power production in order to meet higher demand for clean energy. I think Americans will approve of this new idea, and I sure like it. The Christo administration is certainly on a roll lately with these final 4 of his cabinet appointees. With the Christo cabinet now seated, the agenda for the first 100 days can now be set in motion. It sure will be exciting to see what this president has for us next.
With the confirmation of Mortimer Necros, the gang was all there, as it were. Now the real work of Anthony Christo and his cabinet of catastrophe could truly begin.
Thank you for attending our first full cabinet meeting now that you've all been confirmed by the Senate. We've won a great victory and we must not waste the opportunity it has given us. Our focus in these first 100 days, of course, will largely be the domain of the 4 horsemen: health, defense, agriculture, and energy. Where do things stand with your missions? Have we encountered any trouble so far?
None at all, my Dark Lord. Quite the opposite, in fact. I haven't had to melt a single farmer's brain. They've all been burning their crops by themselves just because I told them to. The entire Midwest is up in smoke right now. Bountiful quantities of food are being destroyed. It's been remarkably easy.
Indeed, Dark Lord. They seem to view you as some sort of national hero who will guide America towards some sort of regained grandeur. I'm not sure where they got the idea. It was never grand to begin with. It is that image, however, which has propelled you to a king-like status among a large portion of the population. I'm not out to force a single person into military service against their will. They have all simply showed up to enlist off of their own accord. I thought it would be difficult to get the humans to fight for no personal gain, but these American types seem to love war. We'll surely be marching toward Armageddon any day now, my Dark Lord.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. These Americans, they're going along with it all? With everything? Have they not read their own books which talk about this? Are we at least seeing resistance from the churches and the religious leaders?
On the contrary, my Dark Lord, it is the religious leaders who have made themselves your most fervent defenders and allies. The pastors in this nation love you, and your word is preached from the pulpits of nearly every church on every Sunday. They endorsed you in the election, you know. And now it is those religious leaders who have made my work the easiest, as they deny there is even a plague occurring. Their insistence to go about their daily lives without care for others is allowing the sickness to spread like wildfire. Already we've seen millions infected and thousands dead. The Americans constantly talk about this event in their history. They call it 9/11. Which apparently killed nearly 3,000 people, and they've used it as an excuse to go to war for more than 20 years. My plague alone has easily killed more than 5 9/11s, and yet they do not seem to mind it in the slightest.
Ah, yes, I have heard of this 9/11. When I learned of it, it became extremely easy to recruit young American men to die for our cause. I was able to use the idea of another 9/11 to frighten their media into doing my work for me. Now, all the news stations are saying that another 9/11 could kill them all. And in less than 48 hours, I was able to not only meet, but exceed the quota of 200,000 new soldiers. The Battle of Armageddon is running ahead of schedule now. We will surely march upon the Valley of Megiddo in imminent fashion.
This is all going too easily, and where's the fun in that? Armageddon is supposed to be a glorious battle of opposing fates, not a parade. Where are the armies of the light? Why is nobody trying to stop us? Have they banned the Book of the Word or something?
The nation appears to have a strange relationship with the book, my Dark Lord. They have not banned it. On the contrary, the state of Florida has banned nearly every book except that one. It is fair to question, however, how many of them have read it. After all, the state of education in this land is not what it used to be. It is peculiar, however, that those which claim to revere the book are the very same we find now most zealously fighting for your cause.
I suppose this will have to do. Once the tribulations begin in earnest, surely then they will realize they have been misguided. We must remain on guard for their resistance at any moment. Until then, we shall take advantage of this unforeseen stroke of fortune. In what state of readiness is the military?
The U.S. military stands at DEFCON 4 as of present, my Dark Lord.
Is the Army in a state to mobilize?
Mass mobilization is possible within 48 hours.
Raise us to DEFCON 3. I want to march on Megiddo no later than tomorrow night. The sooner we strike, the more our advantage will pay off.
President Christo couldn't believe what he was hearing. Surely the humans knew that they were choosing their own doom, didn't they? And yet, they moved forward with enthusiasm, actively choosing their own destruction. If it was destruction they desired, Christo decided, perhaps it was destruction which they should receive.
President Anthony Christo announced this morning that the United States will deploy 200,000 troops to the northern Israeli plains of Megiddo for a decisive battle which he says will determine the fate of all life on Earth. Secretary of Defense Aldrich Warfield remarked from the Pentagon that the mobilization, codenamed Operation Armageddon, will be the final battle before the end of time itself. That sure sounds thrilling. America is watching the preparations eagerly, with watch parties being held in bars and pubs across the nation. Crowds outside the White House have gathered and are chanting USA as the hype of war spreads across the nation. We sure are looking forward to the Battle of Armageddon, aren't we, Tom?
Ha, we sure are, Lisa. I'm a big fan of Armageddon for sure. I can't wait to see the decisive battle whose outcome will determine which of many perilous fates await us all.
That's definitely something to look forward to. I sure would love to know what kind of fate the forces of darkness have in store for a lost soul such as myself. Oh, I'm sure it'll be something fantastic.
The plains of Megiddo lie empty and silent. This was the part where the forces of the light were supposed to come and wage a great battle with the forces of darkness, and yet no army of the light could be seen. Only Christo's army stood there in awkward silence, their guns at the ready, and yet no enemy to shoot.
We're seeing a lot of military activity now on the plains of Megiddo as American forces prepare to launch an offensive known as Operation Armageddon. Tom is on the ground in Megiddo, only a couple miles from where U.S. troops are gathered. What are we seeing now, Tom?
We're not seeing much of anything, to be honest. All these thousands of troops and their equipment have gathered here, but it isn't clear for what yet. We don't know of any enemy activity in the area, and we haven't seen or heard anything yet either. It's like the army showed up with nobody to fight.
What does this mean for the Battle of Armageddon that we've been hearing so much about?
I suppose it means the battle is won, Lisa. I'm not sure, but it appears that the long-awaited battle at Megiddo has come to a rather anticlimactic conclusion. What was foretold to be a great battle of wills, which would decide the fate of all life on Earth, has, instead, turned out to be an easy victory for President Anthony Cristo.
This was truly fascinating and impressive. A key battle was just won without any losses. Another victory for President Cristo. All hail our great ruler!
Meanwhile, in the Situation Room beneath the White House, Anthony Cristo stood, watching his Operation Armageddon via satellite feed with his top military advisors and generals. Secretary of Defense Aldrich Warfield stood beside the Dark Lord as they surveyed the battlefield.
Where are the forces of light? Why has nobody come to Megiddo to fight me?
It would appear the forces of light are in disarray, my Dark Lord. Nobody has come to command them, much less to lead them into battle.
I don't understand. This is supposed to be the part where we fight each other to the death. If nobody comes to fight, how can darkness prevail?
Perhaps by them not coming to fight, darkness has already prevailed.
What do you mean?
It would seem darkness already has prevailed, my Dark Lord. Perhaps even long before our arrival. The people have latched onto you as if they are eager for the end times. No opposing army came to fight at Megiddo. It appears to me that the forces of light have simply surrendered. This world has been forsaken.
This can't be. The whole planet cannot have become one with darkness. There are too many of them. How can all 8 billion of them become so corrupt?
I don't think they have, my Dark Lord. I think they have rather become one with apathy. These people simply do not care what happens to them, so long as their lives remain interesting. Everything has become cheap entertainment and nothing more. The masses yearn for a purpose, and yet they care not what their purpose to be. And so, they have chosen to serve you.
You're the horsemen of war, damn it! You are here to ensure my victory through war! I need a war to consolidate my legitimacy! If there is no war, there is no Armageddon, and there is no apocalypse! We are here to end the world, not to rule it! Now do what you must to give me a damn war!
The United States' enemies were the Russian Federation and the People's Republic of China, my Dark Lord. With your permission, I can launch destructive nuclear weapons at these nations, which is all but certain to attract a likewise response from both of them.
Well, what are we waiting for? Use those weapons! Don't ask my permission!
I actually do need your permission, though. It's like a whole legal thing they have going on.
Oh, for hell's sake, let's get on with it then!
In the following hour, Secretary Warfield relayed orders to Strategic Air Command to ready their aircraft and await combat orders. The entirety of the United States Armed Forces was moved into DEFCON 2, a final preparation for war. President Anthony Cristo, meanwhile, had retreated back to the Oval Office for some time alone to reflect on the gravitas of the immense moment before him. And of course, by that, we mean he was singing a Queen song while dancing atop the Resolute desk.
So don't stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time, I'm a shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, there's no stopping me. I'm burning through the sky, 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light, I wanna make a supersonic man out of you. Don't stop me now.
Mr. President, sir, you're needed in the Situation Room. We've got top commanders at the Pentagon on the line for you.
Thank hell. About time. What was taking them so long?
And so the time had come. War would be unleashed upon the land, one so catastrophic and devastating that it would poison all the rivers and seas, burn a third of the earth's foliage, and kill a third of humankind, just as the great prophecy once foretold. The only thing which now stood between Anthony Cristo and his Battle of Armageddon was a simple-looking leather-bound briefcase.
This is the nuclear football, sir.
Excellent. Show me how to use it.
Here we have operational plans for a variety of different attack options. I encourage you to review them carefully and choose a strategy which best reflects the battlefield advantages and objectives.
How do we inflict massive possible suffering to the enemy?
Well, sir, there are two different types of targets. The first are counter-force targets, which involve an enemy's capacity to wage war. This means things like missile sites, airfields, army forts, that kind of thing.
Boring. What's the other kind of target?
The second kind, sir, are counter-value targets. This means attacking an enemy's economy, which is run by, well, people, sir. It's people. You're attacking people, basically. Large cities with lots of companies, industrial towns with factories, that kind of thing. But that involves killing a lot of people, which makes it something we tend to want to avoid in modern military planning.
That one. The counter people one, whatever it was. Do that. Do that on as massive a scale as possible. What options do we have?
Well, Attack Option 1 was originally drawn up for war against the Soviet Union, and it's been largely kept up to date for modern Russia. It's probably the most comprehensive use of nuclear weapons against a variety of both counter-force and counter-value targets.
That one sounds fun. Let's do that. Now, what do we have for attacking China?
Yeah, we have China war plans too. That would be Attack Option 5 here. Sir, China has a lot of people.
The more the merrier, as they say. Let's get on with it.
Okay, so, you'll want to pick up the radio handpiece here, and it'll connect you to the Pentagon. Once you've connected, you'll want to take that plastic card out of your pocket that you were given on your first day. Read off the 3rd, 5th, and 6th lines from that card. These are the gold codes, and they'll verify for everyone that you are the president giving valid orders.
Okay. Tango, Whiskey, Foxtrot, Sierra, Golf. Victor, Sierra, Lima, Kilo, Tango. Foxtrot, Kilo, Sierra, Bravo, Zulu. This is President and Commander-in-Chief Anthony Cristo. Attack Option 1 and Attack Option 5 are to be ordered at once. Move to DEFCON 1 and execute. Over.
And, that's it. The nukes will be in the air any moment now. Oh, dear God.
God is nowhere to be found. There is only me now.
As hundreds of American nuclear missiles streaked through the skies towards Russia and China, the two nations scrambled to organize and execute their response. Hundreds of Russian and Chinese missiles likewise streaked back toward America. A nuclear return to sender and a deadly game of international chicken. While the Secret Service rushed Anthony Cristo to an underground bunker to ride out the conflict, Cristo smiled and breathed a sigh of relief as he knew that finally, war had been fulfilled.
The world had been utterly devastated by nuclear warfare. Famine soon followed, along with disease, and death certainly had a field day as well, especially once the zoos fell into disrepair and carnivorous beasts began to escape into the cities. Earthquakes trembled the landscape for years to come, and volcanoes spewed forth their fiery lava in clouds of ash. None of this, however, had any effect whatsoever on the die-hard nature of Antony Christo's following in America. Antony Christo stood at his campaign headquarters as he watched yet another election night, his third one now. Christo had run for a second term, hoping to finish off what he had started and strike fear into the hearts of the world, and yet the public embraced him even more passionately. Term limits were repealed to allow Antony Christo to run again, and when he announced he would not seek a third term, absolutely nobody stepped forward to run in his place, thereby leaving Christo in office for a third term he didn't even want by this point.
I just want to be back home in hell with my dad. Why do these people keep choosing their own destruction? How much longer will this go on?
Breaking news. We have a decisive call to make. We can now project that President Antony Christo has won yet a third term in office. America celebrates as their beloved leader finishes off another successful campaign season.
It would go on for what felt like an eternity, Christo would find out. Or perhaps it will continue for eternity. Who is to say? We're still counting at this point. You see, Antony Christo is an immortal being forged in the fires of the depths of hell. He is the son of Satan, after all. He cannot die, and he cannot be killed in a way that matters. Not even suicide could offer him a reprieve from the life he now found himself in. It has been more than 500 years. Christo has long outlived all of his opponents, and now humanity knows nothing but him. He has become their forever ruler, their eternal king.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Antony Christo.
I hate this godforsaken world.